Gamers, welcome to Screen Smash. I'm your host, Dan Morris. Joining me this evening, I have Jake Brown.
Yo.
Nick Mckay.
What up?
And welcome back to the show, lovely Baron.
Lovely.
And over this way is a Val. No. How's it going?
Yo, wap. Welcome back, Baron. So glad to have you back. What have you been up to lately, sir?
So I've done it. I've done the impossible. I lovingly and gingerly finished Resident Evil 4 remake.
Can you gingerly do that?
No, I was sweating gingerly pulling the trigger for dear life and panic spraying and wasting ammo. But when I learned that you could just freely run and you could run and get people in corners and trap them on ladders, and you could just, long story short, that remake changed my mind, and I thought it should have been Game of the Year.
It was my Game of the Year contender for sure.
And of course, it's because it was my first time playing through it. I never played the original. I always kind of, avoided it. My first completed Resident Evil was the Resident Evil 2 remake. So, I'm fresh into the scene. But that, man, freaking suplex, perfect plexing. Perfect plex. The guys are professional. Superhumans who are not zombies. They are zombie-like. They are infected people with a disease. Let's get it right, people.
One of my favorite reviews I've read for Resident Evil 4 Remake actually said 5 stars. You can suplex grandmas.
Yeah,
that was the review.
dude. And then when I found out the power of the bolt gun, that was truly everything. And I started another playthrough after I beat it, and I made it back to the castle after when you start meeting the road people and the cannons. I made it all the way back to that point, and that's when I stopped because, of course, there are other games, meaning Valorant.
This past weekend, I finished my 4th playthrough on hardcore difficulty in under 5 hours.
Wow!
And then I started my professional difficulty playthrough. That's my 5th playthrough.
Finished the whole game in under 5 hours?
Yes, because I used an infinite ammo rocket launcher and blasted the fuck out of everything.
There you go. Running through. You know what's crazy? My second playthrough, it took me 5 times to fight the fish monster thing. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I was over it and I was just sitting there like holding a kid and laughing and doing everything other than paying attention. But it took me a long time to beat it. But the first playthrough, I beat it on the first try. But I think my adrenaline was pumping and I was trying to win.
What difficulty did you play on your first time?
Normal.
Okay.
I always play normal, but I will say that all that game is my date with the president's daughter, but with infected monsters. That's all it is. That's, for those who don't know, there's a Disney movie called a Disney original.
With the president's daughter.
Yes.
With her. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
When did that movie come out?
Oh, 98, 2000?
Yeah,
maybe?
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
Fact check.
if it's
check, 98.
Now I'm curious because like the timing for that would have been like Resident Evil 4 came out in 2003 or 2004 originally on the GameCube.
I wonder if there's inspiration,
bro.
Because
there's footage out there of what Resident Evil 4 used to look like. The original Resident Evil 4 build was a very different game. And then they like redid the whole thing. So you can find footage of the original Resident Evil 4 looking more like Devil May Cry almost, with like way more action combat. And then it
came out in 2005.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe they were like, we're gonna make that game in Resident Evil or that movie.
Because that's all it is.
It's like, I love this Disney movie. I need to make a video game.
Shinji Mikami had a sweet spot for that Disney movie. Like Hideo Kojima. I gotta make it.
Yeah.
So you said that was your first Resident Evil game you've ever played?
No, my first Resident Evil was Resident Evil 2 remake.
Okay.
Yeah, with X out there sucker punching me all day. I opened a door and he just cold clocked me. Bow! And I dropped my controller and took a break. There was a lot of breaks that had to be taken, but yes, I get it. I get why there's so much love for Resident Evil 4. I understand.
This makes me question. I have the question. I just recently saw this comedian that talked about how he thinks that white people are the only people who do things that are scary for fun. Is that true?
I would say that's funny. I've actually heard that conversation, and most of the adrenaline junkies I know happen to be of that persuasion. And yeah, I don't know. It just, hey,
I needed some authentic perspectives.
Yeah, look, I'll say this. I've thought about parachuting, but the idea of like jumping out of a plane and then having somebody with the parachute on catch me, that sounds crazy. Or like, hey, let's jump off this cliff and free float all the way down and squirrel suit it. Like I'm stressed out on the freeway in traffic. I don't, I don't, there's not many, I get, I don't need that much excitement, day to day. I don't know if it's environment, nature versus nurture. I don't know, but I will say that a video game is more than enough excitement for me. A good, getting an ace in Valorant is in one round. Not even the whole match. Just, just a one ace would be enough to carry me for at least 4 days. So I don't know.
Well, all right. Thank you for catching us up, Aaron. I'm really happy to hear that you finally made your way through Resident Evil 4 because that's absolutely one of my favorite games. I'm glad to hear that you're liking it because originally I remember you were like lukewarm on it and you're like, I don't know. Yeah. But it makes me happy to hear that you enjoyed it because it's easily one of my favorite games. And like now I'm like replaying Resident Evil 4. I'm going back. I actually just reinstalled Resident Evil 3 remake to go through that a couple more times. I don't know what it is. I just love those games. But we're here today. We got a couple of topics to get to. We're going to talk about the kind of like mid-console lifespan, half-life, if you will, without bringing up that salty subject. And we're also going to talk about the recent Xbox podcast where we got some pretty juicy updates on the state of Xbox after a harrowing couple of weeks on social medias where people were like losing their minds thinking that Xbox was going to like throw in the towel or just give up and start selling their games on other platforms because there were rumors that Xbox games were coming to other consoles. But that's not true. To get us going, though, we're about 3 years, a little over 3 years since the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles have released. And now there are talks from PlayStation talking about, that they're already like looking at the PlayStation 5 as being in the back half of its life. There's the new fresh rumors of a Switch 2 possibly coming out this year. And we already know that there was like rumors / leaks from the Activision Blizzard deal that Xbox is working on a refresh.
Well, I'll start on the PlayStation thing. I mean, there was one of the Sony execs recently said that the PlayStation 5 is entering the latter stage of its lifespan, which does make sense because the trend that we've seen with consoles is that a console comes out and it's out for about 7 years and then we get a new one. That happened with PS3 came out in 2006, then we got PS4 in 2013, and then PS5 in 2020. So it seems like it is like we're definitely in the halfway stage of it. And I think what he meant by that as well is that sales are starting to slow down because kind of everyone's already got one that was going to buy it day one. So I think it's like you can talk about it being the second half of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series lifespans, but I think it's also an exciting time for those consoles because those consoles are going to start to get cheaper and we're going to start to get a lot more third-party hardware for these consoles and things. So I think that it's not as new and fresh anymore, but I think it's a nice time now that it's like settled. I think that we're going to see a lot of a lot of like cool stuff coming out. And there's always, after the 3-4 year mark is when we get like our, Xbox Elite consoles and PlayStation Pro consoles. So there's always the chance that we could see something there. So it was interesting the way it was phrased. And like Dan, you touched on how like Xbox has been kind of people have spreading rumors that like, oh, Xbox is dying and things like that. Because that's the rumor mill, right? Like as soon as you say something, it gets blown out of proportion. So like, Sony said, yeah, the PS5's in its latter stage of life, and everyone was like, does that mean it's dead? Does that mean they're going to work on a PS6? Like what's happening? Like, why is it dying? And it's like, no, he's just saying like, we're in the second half, right? It's not that we're throwing in the towel. It's just we're getting to the PS5 is becoming an old man, and it's good to see.
That's so crazy to think about, though, man. Like 2020, like they both came out. I just think it's so weird to talk about, like, being in the later stages of life when up until like this past year, nobody can get a PS5 unless like scourging through sites like with the notify me button or whatever. Like, I think that's the craziest thing that we're already talking about, like, upgrading to a newer version of consoles, or I don't know. It's weird to me. I know, I understand it's like 8-year lifespan, but the fact that it's already been 3 years and like now people can get their hands on it, it doesn't sit well with me. So like, I really don't know what to expect.
No, because that's very real. Like store shelves are barely being filled with consoles. And that's on both ends, PlayStation and, Xbox. But it's weird hearing that, but then seeing that game development has increased in time. So now, like just the idea of, Starfield, right? We just got Starfield. We're not getting Elder Scrolls 6 until midway into the next gen based on this timetable. Like, it just being honest, like we're not going to get it. I wonder, especially seeing how long the PS4, I mean, we can use the PS3 as a better measurement, how long those consoles lasted. I wonder if we're going to see a longer shelf life with these consoles, especially with the cloud now coming into play. With even though we know hardware is what they want, but we're living in a world where, well, first off, hardware was never the moneymaker. It was always everything that came with it. They always lost money on hardware. Everybody did that. So now knowing that it's more or less, hey, is your internet good? Do you got the service? Are you in PlayStation Plus? Are you in Xbox Game Pass? Are you in these services? So, hey, we got this pretty powerful machine. We already taught you how to use a screwdriver and heat paste to put in SSDs. Like, so you're already halfway there. Let's just run with this for a little bit. We'll give you a pro version where it has now the SSD is going to be where you just snap in, or you could do an external. Well, maybe I'm thinking that's the route we'll go. I don't know. I just feel like so much is in the cloud and digital now that the idea of just let's put out another console, chip shortage be damned, and all of this other stuff going on is, I don't know. I guess he's just working. I'm not in the room. I'm not in the boardroom. I'm not a money guy. I know when it comes to tech, new is always better. That's always the hey, even though the phone we came out with 4 months ago was the best camera, here's a better camera, kind of
even better one.
Yeah. So I think that's more or less what we're gonna get. That's what I think we're gonna be dealing with. I
mean, because like Dan and I were talking about this story the other day, and it was like we were thinking about like, yeah, we might get like a PS6 and an Xbox, whatever they call it. Yeah. in like 3 years or something. But like, what can they add? Because like, I mean, I'll talk from PS5 because that's what I play on. That's got 60 frames per second and it goes up to 4K. And like got an SSD with super fast load times. I'm like, what else do you need from a video game console? And like you said, there's so much stuff that you can play in the cloud now. So does it even make sense to sell a new console? I'd kind of start thinking that maybe you start releasing pro versions of consoles or upgrade kits so that you can say, yeah, you want some more RAM. Maybe your PlayStation's RAM is starting to get a little bit faulty. Yeah, you can
flashback to the N64 with a little RAM cartridge.
With the RAM,
oh my god,
yeah.
Because instead of Donkey Kong 64.
I think I got mine for Star Fox 64.
Yep, that's where I got mine for the red thing. Yep.
But like instead of the necessity of upgrading your console and saying like, you know, this console is now 7 years old and it's starting to get a bit buggy because hardware does eventually run out. Maybe it becomes smarter to say, listen, we're not going to do a PS6, but we'll do an upgrade kit as a PS6 kind of thing. So we say you can just keep adding because you can't really change the components of an Xbox even bigger. PlayStation.
Like adding modular pieces.
Oh, good old school Sega for real. Like it's the Mega Drive and everything. Like it's going down. I honestly, what I think we're gonna get, and it's gonna be super funny, is I think you're gonna get a Kinect style. Like it's gonna come back, and and now people are gonna appreciate it. Because it fits in today's world. Like, could you imagine it connected to Amazon? It connected to Spotify. It's already connected to all of your things, and it's just going to be now voice activated, like everything else in your life. Like we tried to give you guys with the Xbox One. I missed
the voice activation on Xbox One.
Oh, I played Skyrim with my Kinect. Like I was one of those people. Like, I was heavy. So knowing, I think that. You know, we were talking about augmented reality and stuff like, or with the PlayStation 5, it could be a whole unit where it's already pre-set up for you to use your, the PS6 is going to come with your, the VR. Like, I don't know. Like it just, I imagine more of these things than straight up, hey, this console is just more powerful. I don't picture that because outside of loading times and quick resume, there wasn't a reason to get a Series X. Like, you know, that was the selling point was, hey, it looks a little prettier, but now there's quick resume. But that was it. And so now knowing, as somebody who plays PC, I assume we all play PC. Like, am I the only one here?
No, I play PC as well.
Every now and then, yeah.
Okay, what could they offer you right now to make you be like, outside of the fact that it's just new tech? Because I'm a tech junkie. I have a Quest that I haven't
opening a new
used.
shiny box.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Look, I have a Quest that I haven't used in months. It's right there. Like, so I get it. But what?
I remember having the same question though going into this generation. I remember thinking the same thing with the PS5 and the Xbox Series. Like, how much better can it be? Like, sure, faster SSDs. Sure, more RAM, sure, like some more features, but then there's like ups and downs there too, because like I remember when the PS5 first came out, we had new features, but then they took away features. You know, I'm like, what happened to my albums? What happened to being able to sort games on the PlayStation home screen? Like the PlayStation home screen on the PS5 drives me crazy because I have OCD and I can't sort my games. So anyways, at least with the Xbox, I like that it stayed the same. But then, like you said, Baron, it added quick resume, and quick resume is awesome.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
I love it.
I still shock people. Like my wife was doing my hair as I was playing the game, and then I swapped over to something else, and she looked away and looked back and was like, "Wait!" Like it just and being in game, like not load screen, not home screen, like I am playing, and that I talk like it's not a lot. Quick resume and faster processing is huge. Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't get a new computer just to get a stronger i7. Like, you know, so I get it. I don't know. I guess I don't know what I'm looking for.
I'll tell you what I'm looking for.
Oh,
like you started talking about like the Kinect and stuff, like how that will come back. A feature that I loved when the Xbox One first came out, I think Dan and I were talking about this like last week or a few weeks back. The snap feature. Do you remember that? Remember how they have the snap feature to where it opens up the little like picture-in-picture screen? Dude, watching Netflix up in the corner while playing a game, that was like the greatest feeling. And it's like, have you ever, I'm pretty sure a lot of people tried. I had like my PS3 hooked up in the top right corner and I would play the PS3. It was laggy as hell, but
But hey,
oh, dude, at the time I was like, I feel like I shouldn't be doing this. I wish that stuff would come back. I love that. I don't know why they remove stuff like that, but I would love to see that. I would love to see the Kinect come back in like some type of form. Like the Kinect wasn't perfect, but I think they were on the right track of tech wise.
That was one of those things that like Xbox pulled the trigger too soon on that kind of thing. Usual. Yeah. And like they were ahead of the market, so people rejected it initially. Yeah, that was pretty much the issue that they ran into. I've actually written an article about this, how I think that Xbox did the right thing, but too soon. And that even comes down to like the digital licensing crap that they got when the Xbox One came out, because that's what everything is now.
Yep. Yeah. They always fall on the sword. They take the heat, but then instead of continuing with it, they axe it.
Yeah.
Well, it was axe it or die pretty much, because everybody was basically saying that they were like fucking apart. But I wanted to double back a little bit to the cloud gaming aspect. And I think that this is a big avenue here because, to your point, Baron, why do you need a new console when I can literally pick up my phone or my tablet or any device and just boot up a game that's running on some server somewhere? I don't need the technology. I don't need the hardware. I just need a screen and an internet connection, which is kind of like the big thing that Xbox has been pushing for. And that's what they're kind of leading up to and building towards. We'll get into that too when we get into the Xbox podcast update. I know Sony's working on a lot of that too. They now put out like the PlayStation Portal PSP, but not a PSP. But that's kind of like a same thing where you're playing the games without necessarily having to have the hardware. You do need to have the hardware. You still need the PlayStation 5, but you can play it from somewhere else. And you have remote play and you've got cloud gaming, but it's not, I don't know, it doesn't feel as good on the PlayStation. But still, that's kind of the future. With cloud gaming, you don't really need a console. What me personally, for the nostalgia factor, I miss the iterations with like the exclusive consoles with like the Gears of War console, the Xbox, Halo, the different versions. Because I used to get those different versions because I thought they were cool, you know. And at least Xbox and PlayStation have kind of mitigated that. Thank you, Jake. With like the skins or the wraps or the panels.
Yeah.
You know, those kind of things.
I feel robbed. No, like, why wasn't there a Starfield edition console?
There was a limited one, wasn't there? It was super
have, like,
limited.
The wrap or something? I thought they had like
there was a wrap. Okay.
There was a wrap.
Like a little jacket for your
There was
Xbox.
a Halo one too, but that was also
there was a Halo.
Super limited.
Yeah. No, but like, once again, it was a perfect storm of just weird times. And, you know, you had tech shortages and whatnot. Like, there was a bunch going on that we can't ignore. But it's still, I'm just old. There you go. I'm old. I like the old ways. When I want to be able to go and get the Simpsons console, I want to go get the Star Wars edition with the C-3PO controller. I want
I still want that Star Wars console.
Yeah. It had, when you opened the disc tray, it had a gold inlay and it was like, Obi-Wan, your only hope. Like, bro, it was so clean. Oh, that was such a clean
I still
console.
love my Halo 4 Xbox that makes the Halo 4 sounds when you turn it on and turn it off and open the eject tray and stuff. Like, I love those little things so like that.
It's the little stuff. And, you know, they haven't given up on the controllers, thankfully. Which, you know, I didn't know you could keep coming up with so many designs. But I feel like, where's my console? Why do I have to win a raffle against the whole world
to get a special edition console?
To get a special edition console. Like, it'd be different if we got 1,000 in your county or your state. Like, I'll take state. Like, but I gotta compete against the world.
Yeah. No, it's a double-edged sword, because we're talking about the future of consoles, and the future ends up looking more and more digital. But with that, it limits how much we're going to get for physical options when it comes to games and consoles. As we're like, we see the physical games.
Helldivers 2. This was hard to get.
I didn't even know they made physical copies.
I didn't either until I saw it at Target the other day. I was like,
no, this was hard to get where I live. I called GameStops. They were like, it was a big weekend. I sold my last ones. I don't know when I'm getting shipment. Best Buy was doing like, they were like weeks out. it was like, oh, we may get them in March. And like, it was hectic. And funny enough, I went to a random Walmart near my job, walked in at 6 a.m, and there was 2 copies. 2. And I was like, holy crap. I wanted this physical. Something. I like physical AAs, and I feel like they're the AAs and indies are going to be
making me want to
like
run down to my Target and see if they still have that copy on the shelf.
You should. You should. I'm serious. You should. That I don't know. It's just something about it.
I like physical games. Like I love buying physical games. I love collecting physical games, even to the point now where, similarly for me, I had pre-ordered Grand Blue Fantasy for the PS5 a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
The day it came out, they didn't have my pre-order. They never received them. They didn't get shipments, and they didn't have them coming. Like they checked. They're like, oh, it's not in our system. We don't know when it's going to get here. And I'm like, are you telling me I pre-ordered a game? I'm not the only one that pre-ordered it, but you didn't get any of the copies. And I was like,
did you go through GameStop?
It was GameStop, yeah.
I'm going to tell you after what happened, because this is the 3rd big title that I've heard about with them. Remember, it happened with Resident Evil 4. And then I forgot the game before. There was a collector's edition that they fell short on.
Yeah, I was worried about that because I had that Resident Evil 4 collector's edition pre-order too. And I was like, oh. I'm not sponsored by Best Buy or anything, but I go through them because I have yet to run into an issue where I didn't get my collector's edition. Well, the problem was like Resident Evil 4 was exclusive to GameStop. You couldn't get it anywhere else.
Oh, that's evil.
Yeah, that's the worst part of it. It was
Is
exclusive.
Umbrella running? Is Umbrella like running? That's
the plan.
Bro. How do you no, I'm not going down this road. No.
Okay, before we move on to the next subject, though, I wanted to at least hit on this. I don't know if you guys are going to have an opinion, but Switch 2 rumors. Do we think we're going to get a Switch 2 finally?
Nope.
When did the first one come out?
So
2017.
Oh my god, it's been a hot minute. The issue is Nintendo knows what they're doing. Nintendo can continue to do what they're doing, and nobody's going to bat an eye.
They're still going to sell hundreds of millions of physical systems and physical games, and they're doing whatever the fuck they want, regardless of what anything else we're talking about.
Yes, it could come out, but it's not needed because people are still willingly they're still going to throw money at them for anything. I just
my biggest question on that is like, how does the Switch do in the AAA game space in terms of like
doesn't matter.
Obviously like what I mean is like that's what I'm gonna say. It's like it doesn't matter because like obviously we know how bad Mortal Kombat 1 was on the Switch, but does Nintendo even care about sales of games like that at all?
Probably not.
Because
they only care about their internal studios.
They've got their first party stuff that is still. I mean, they've got games that look like. Like you get your PlayStation, Xbox fanboys that are like, oh, that game looks so terrible. Look at the graphics. And I'm like, anyone who has a Switch is like, we don't give a shit, dude. It doesn't have to look like a AAA game. We just enjoy playing Switch. And I'm like, that's the beauty of the Switch console is that it's like far and away a million times better than the PlayStation Portal. And I say that as a PlayStation fan because the Switch has controllers you can take off. You can plug it into your TV. You can take it with you anywhere. And you don't have to have another console. Facts. And everything. The Switch is an incredible piece of technology that I wish I could like get myself, but like it's not like it needs an upgrade. Like that's what's so great about it is you can play Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, and you can be like, this is fucking rad, and I love this game. Like it doesn't need to be upgraded.
So all I need is more games on the Switch, honestly.
And remember, the streaming was a great thing that they were practicing. I remember back when they first did that with Control and Hitman, if I'm not mistaken, those were the games.
The Witcher 3 one of the first ones too?
They ported The Witcher 3 onto there. You could buy it physical and play Witcher 3. It doesn't look horrible docked, but but still, I'm not a graphics junkie, so that's not my thing. But I will say this. This is the company that sold us cardboard boxes, and it sold well. Like people bought boxes and with strings attached and went into GameStops to buy boxes to play. So this is that company. They can do anything. I don't even. Yeah, they work in a different galaxy. See, like alternate reality.
To go double back on what Nick was saying too, like when you talk about the Switch, just kind of like Nintendo can just do whatever it wants. Like they're literally selling, and one of their top selling games to this day still is a Wii U game that they ported, and they just keep churning that out. They still sell like every year, every bundle, every Christmas, it's Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
That's a Wii U game.
Yeah.
It's a Wii U game.
Yeah.
It's a generation old, and it's still one of their top selling games.
Yep. And
because it's so good.
And then you just get new generations of people. Like I had a Switch. My kids got old enough to enjoy gaming, and I got them Switches.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, it's just it. I mean, I still got my 3DS, my DS, my Advance, I think my Game Boy is at home with my parents. But yeah, like, bro, Nintendo just they don't still work.
To do anything.
They don't have to do anything.
Like
they really don't, dude.
I'm that techie that I wouldn't mind an upgraded Switch because, like,
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
loving Tears of the Kingdom. Like, I'm finally playing Tears of the Kingdom after it being in my backlog all year last year, and I'm playing it, and I'm like, oh, it looks great, it looks beautiful. But holy crap, do I get some like really bad slowdown and the frame rate just plummets sometimes. And I'm like, oof, this is like the roughest part of this game. So like, I wouldn't mind a slightly beefier version of the Switch that can handle games and play them at a little bit smoother frame rate. And that's all I would need, honestly. Like, I'd be happy with that.
Bro.
I mean, I've never had Nintendo consoles ever, but like, if I were to if I was a Nintendo person and I'd be like, I want Nintendo to come up with something new. Honestly, I think it'd be dope to get a 3DS too. Like, imagine what they could do with like the 3DS now. Because like, I remember the jump to 3DS. I used to work in promotions, and I used to do promotions for the 3DS. So they would give me a 3DS for the weekend, and I would just have to go and promote it. So I would literally just be playing Street Fighter 4 the whole weekend on my 3DS. It was so amazing. Like, imagine what they could do with the 3DS now. And like, they could add like maybe more augmented reality stuff. Like, I think that would be cool. So if Nintendo is thinking about new hardware, I'd look at a new DS.
I mean, or just a Switch 3D or whatever, it's already a portable. Like,
or what did he say? What did Ryan McCaffrey say? The Super Nintendo Switch. Like, that's all they gotta call it.
Yeah,
and
Super
it would
Switch.
be a home
Super
run.
Switch. That's what I want. The Super Switch.
But think about what you just said. Like, that goes back to like almost a return to the past to bring us current. Like, you connect, but not even just nostalgia. It literally is the world we live in now. Like, everybody, like that whole. It's funny because you could give the whole presentation for the Xbox One release today, and it would be a home run. That's the craziest thing. It'd be a complete home run, and then just include like I don't know, 6 months of HBO Max or whatever. Like, but like heck, I got Crunchyroll from Xbox Game Pass, so no, we're not doing it. No.
I would just love the option for Nintendo. I hate that they don't have a virtual console, that they put it behind a subscription. I hate that. I wish you could just buy those games individually. I would love that. But like, I don't want to pay $50-$60 for the 64 expansion pack. Like, can I just buy Donkey Kong 64 or Paper Mario? Like, can I just get that instead? I hate the subscription nowadays.
You know what I hate even more is that PlayStation adapted that same model with the PS1 classics. I hate that. That drives me nuts. They have Resident Evil 1 as a PlayStation Plus game that has achievements or trophies, but you can't buy it. You have to have the PlayStation Plus premium membership to play it. And that drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can buy it.
No, you can't.
No.
Checked.
This is why they're actually, from what I understand, these are some of the reasons why that big lawsuit in the EU is going on with PlayStation, because of them being the only storefront and them having everything locked. Like, I don't even think I could buy you guys a game through the store and send it to you. Like, I have to send you credits. Yeah, like, but this is like, you're the only storefront. I can't buy your product anywhere else. All I can do is buy your codes, not your codes, your credits to spend. Yeah. And then you do situations like that where you don't even sell me the product that you only have access to. Nuts. So is that a thing for Xbox? Can you buy a game for someone else?
Yeah, you can gift games on Xbox.
Steam. And
do you have
to
have an Xbox account to do that?
I think I don't know. I've never done it. I've only done it through Steam.
I've had an Xbox account for 25 years, so it's hard for me to say. if you wouldn't be able to.
And like, because this is the thing. Like, I thought. I mean, this was for PlayStation, but I thought it's so frustrating. It's like my dad. I think it was 2 years ago. He was like, "What do you want for your birthday?" Right? And I said, like, Horizon Forbidden West had just come out, and I said, like, dude, this game. Like, if you could buy me this game, I'd be like, oh, this would be amazing. And he's like, cool. How do I do that? And I was like, okay, because he lives in another country. He lives in so like it's difficult for like you can't just buy it and bring it to me or something.
Gotcha.
So I said, yeah, let me have a look, and I'd researched for like 4 straight days. How can like someone who doesn't have a PlayStation account and stuff like that, how can they like buy me a game? And why is this not an option for someone to go onto PlayStation's or even Xbox? I don't know if Xbox does this.
No, it's
you
only
don't have to have an account
game.
or anything. But like you go onto PlayStation's website and you say, I'd like to buy this game for someone else. Then you purchase it and you get the 12-digit code, and then you can give it to someone, because the code it's not like you need to have accounts and things like that. You just get the code.
Now, I can hit on this because when I worked at GameStop back in the day, there was a time when people would come into the store and they would buy digital codes games for people and it would print on the receipt. And then they stopped that. Sony specifically stopped doing that. And people would come into the store and say, I want to digitally buy this game for my friend, family member, loved one, whatever. And it would be like, oh, sorry, we can't do that anymore, but you can buy the currency. And they're like, I don't want to buy the currency. I want to buy them the game they want, because I don't want to just give them money. I want to buy them the thing that I know they want, because it means that much more. And it's like, that's not an option anymore. It's just gone.
I mean, that's how we had to do it. Was I had to get the currency on the store. That's how I got the game. So I still got the game at least. But yeah, I mean, that's like it feels like a massive oversight in the biggest focus of gaming right now is digital gaming. So it just seems like it's such a silly thing. So for Xbox, if like it's your grandmother and she's not tech savvy, can she just go into xbox.com and be like, I'd like to buy this game?
I wouldn't doubt it.
I feel like you could, but I can't say for sure. I just feel like you could.
We're talking about Microsoft here. Like, they definitely want to accept your money any way possible. But let me see. But I know for me, I didn't realize it until it got pointed out. I want to say it was a couple months ago. There was a lawsuit that was coming about. And I didn't realize how much of an issue that was. Like, and then hearing that example, that's frustrating. Like, that's to a point to where I would just give up and be like, yeah. I had an issue buying the console version of Final Fantasy 14. I had a major issue where I ended up having to buy it multiple times because I clicked the wrong version. Like, I bought, and then I messed up my subscription, because you know how you're supposed to be. I don't know if you guys play Final Fantasy 14, but now you could get up to level 75 for free. But I messed that up with my account because of the way I purchased it on PlayStation.
That's also a tricky thing with Final Fantasy, because I've had issues with Final Fantasy 14 too, where I mistakenly bought an upgrade or a new thing, but it activated like a new service account, and then I had to call them and like have them merge the service accounts because I didn't know.
See,
it was a whole.
I didn't want to go through. I did not want to go through all of that. Like, I was like, no, thank you. Let me see. I'm trying. Oh yeah, I'm not even logged in on Xbox, and you just have to set up a Google or a Microsoft account, and you can buy as a gift. Like, you just click buy as a gift, and
it just seems like such a silly thing that I don't know why PlayStation doesn't do that. Because I mean, like, so to explain the process with this, I said to my dad, I was like, okay, this is the game I want, and there was no way to buy it, like for him to buy it for me online. So I was like, cool, just buy me the currency. And then he wasn't able to get the currency in because it was also region locks. And it became like a whole thing. And then he wanted to buy the currency on like it's like South Africa's version of like Amazon. It's like our website buying place. He's like, no, cool, I'll just buy the currency through there because that's the other thing. And they don't sell the currency. You can buy memberships and subscriptions, but they don't sell the currency. So it was like, how do we do this? Because sending the actual money overseas is like expensive. So we found a long way around it and basically Like one of his accounts, like he just sent me the money and I was able to buy the game. But I was like, what a mission for my dad to like just buy me a gift.
Yeah, you should never make it that hard for people to spend money.
To spend money, like
you're trying to sell a game, and it's not just like some random game. This was Horizon Forbidden West, which it came out like a week before that, and it was frustrating. And it just, oh man, like it really should be. You should be able to go onto Sony and be like, I want to buy this game. Give me the code, and then you could just send that code to someone else.
I even looked into that for like doing promotions for our show, like to gift games, and like you just can't do it through Sony. You can't do
it. Yeah, we ran into that too. It's always we'll send you a gift card, or yeah.
It's just we're in that digital age of gaming. I feel like it needs to be as easy as it possibly can be, because it is ridiculously easy. On my phone, I can buy a game and then click download, and as soon as I turn my PlayStation on, it starts downloading. I mean, that's so easy. It should be easier in other respects as well. But yeah.
Speaking of easy, I'm going to segue into our next topic, which is the Xbox podcast updates that we got last week. They talk about a lot of features with Xbox, many of which that I agree are also extremely easy. And that's one of the things that I really resonated with from the show. So I'm going to go do a quick little breakdown of pretty much everything they talked about, kind of hit the hot points. You guys jump in whenever you want. But essentially, for those of you who didn't catch it on the Xbox podcast last week, Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, and Sarah Bond sat down and talked about updates on Xbox that are coming up in the future. This is off of a hot couple of days on the internets where rumors had come out that Xbox was porting some of their games to other platforms, most notably, of course, PlayStation, and the internet just imploded on itself. So thankfully, Xbox came out to set the record straight and give us the lowdown. So starting to show off, the first thing they talked about was the rumors, because they were like, yep, we got to nip this in the bud and talk about it. So they basically were saying, like, listen, the rumors aren't completely false. But essentially what it comes down to is there are 4 games of Xboxes that they're going to release on other platforms. Other platforms, keywording that they used. They cannot say which titles they are at this time because they feel that it's better to let those teams announce their games specifically. They also went on to say that Starfield and Indiana Jones are not going to other platforms. Those ones are staying on Xbox. There are the rumors of the games that are going. Most notably are Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment. That's one. Thank you. Pentiment. Those are the rumored 2 that are coming out. They also did say that 2 of the other bigger games, they were saying that the criteria for these games are that they're at least a year old. They feel that those games have done as much as they're going to do on Xbox, and they want to give them a bigger audience. So that's why they're looking to push them out to other platforms. They said that these are community-driven games, they're newer games, and that they're franchises that they want to continue to invest in by doing this, by putting them out there. And I think that's very smart. Like, we can go back to Helldivers. Absolutely, like, why wouldn't you want Helldivers to be playable on other platforms? Like,
especially where it's doing now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Helldivers exploded. Like, it's super popular now. And there's now a petition from Xbox gamers to get Helldivers on Xbox. I don't know.
But it's like, as you said that, like, those 2 bigger games, you said like they're at least a year old, and now we've done what we can sales-wise with them. We want to put them on other consoles. Why are we not doing that for all exclusives? I mean, I remember when Rise of the Tomb Raider came out, that was an Xbox timed exclusive. And I was like, I really want to play this. But I was like, okay with it. I was like, cool, Xbox, you can have it for a year. And then they released like the 20th anniversary edition for PlayStation. It came out with all the DLC and stuff like that. And I'm sure Xbox profited massively from the sales on that because it was exclusive for a while. But then I still got to play it. And I'm like, why are we not doing this? Like, I understand the idea of like exclusivity and saying, like, for PlayStation to say God of War is only a PlayStation game, for Xbox to say Starfield's only an Xbox game. Like, I get that. But games that are smaller, like, why can't we see Spider-Man go over to Xbox? You know, it's not necessarily like a Sony mascot type of game. So why can't we see that make the move over? You know, it's done everything it needs to do in terms of its sales. So I'd say give it a year and then maybe start releasing it on some other platforms, because you'll make more sales and you'll get your games that everyone loves to more people.
Yeah, this is a point that Phil Spencer actually touches on during that podcast about like, it's okay to have your big mascot like staple games as your exclusives, but not every game needs to be an exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think where you're coming from, Nick, that there's this weird rhetoric people get in their minds that they feel like exclusivity means health and positivity within the zeitgeist of the console. Because here's a little anecdote. I went down to Target the other day and I was looking at the Xbox wall. I was checking out this cool Halo Master Chief helmet. And this Target employee comes up to me and asks me if I need help. And I kind of like just BS with him for a bit. And I mentioned how I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of sad to see that the physical games are kind of dying down. And he goes, yeah, I wonder how long Xbox is going to be around for. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, they seem to be dying off. I'm like, what gives you that idea? And he goes, well, when was the last time they shipped an exclusive? I'm like, Starfield? And he was like, oh, I forgot about Starfield. He's like, but that came to PC. And I'm like, but PC is Microsoft. And it's still theirs. They still published it. And he was like, oh, yeah, I guess so. That right there tells you that this is like, if this is an average person, the average consumer, they have such a skewed idea of what's actually happening, as well as what exclusivity means. To him, exclusivity is like, oh, the system's dying, even though he's like out of sight, out of mind. And he's not taking this, a game like Xbox's whole thing is that they're pushing their games to every platform they can. Because that's a win for them, no matter what, whether it's exclusive or not. A little bit of a danger.
You're rational though, and you're making too much sense.
I'm sorry.
Let's be let's be honest. It is about a feel. As much, we could talk numbers all day. We can talk about how successful, literally, Microsoft is, if not the biggest, the richest company on earth. Not in the US, not in the UK, on earth. And we're worried about their video game console. This is, and it's even to the consumer, because normally you can just tie things to, it's the echo chamber, it's the heavy duty gamers online who buy 5 games a month. No, that guy you were talking to probably buys 3 games a year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he thinks Xbox is doing bad. So that on paper means Xbox is doing bad. If the general consumer thinks it's dying, it is dying. Like that. I mean, what? I don't care how successful you are behind the scenes. Like with something that's, I guess, as social as this, because gaming is very social, especially now. Having a big portion of the social gathering tell you that this is whack. It's weird. Tinfoil hat on. Tinfoil hat, but it's. Yeah, I'm done. Tinfoil hat. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely can see it both ways. Like, I understand that, like, you have to have your exclusives to sell consoles. Yeah. I mean, because, like, if you can play Uncharted on Xbox, you can play Halo on PlayStation, you can play all these games on the same console. What are we paying for? What are we buying an Xbox for? What are we buying a PlayStation for? Features? Am I buying an Xbox solely for quick resume? Am I buying a PlayStation just because it could run smoother or something? I understand where it comes from that point, but it's also like, I feel like it's a lot of, I'm going to take my ball and not share it with anybody. You know what I mean? Like, and I think Microsoft is like, kind of like how we talked a little bit earlier about how they're kind of ahead of the game. They're trying to be that peace offering of going, hey, nobody really wants to budge and kind of share games. Like, let's extend the olive branch. I mean, let's do it. But I mean, but it gets destroyed by like communities and fanboys and stuff, and that's what I hate. I have both consoles. I don't care where I'm playing my games. Honestly, I just want to have fun with my friends. That's it. Give me the next Fable or something.
Because that's exactly the point. Is that you talk about which console should you buy? Both consoles are to make a very loose argument, both consoles are pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah.
You talk about features, you've got quick resume on Xbox, that on PlayStation is called resume activity. You know, there's like, they're basically the same experience in terms of their hardware and performance. So I've always loved the idea that there's like a mascot series for a game. So I want to see Uncharted, The Last of Us, God of War as PlayStation exclusives. But there's other exclusives that I'm like, why, you know, we can start to shop them out and say, cool, we've done our sales thing on it. Like, I think we need to bring back the timed exclusive thing, man. I think that's the way to go, because then you still get that exclusivity bonus of like, we can get people on our consoles playing this and we can make the sales, but then it's available to everyone. So I do have to say it's a big up to Xbox to extend that olive branch, like you were saying. It's good because that's where gaming needs to go. Because instead of trying to compete and always trying to sell the consoles, just like, let us play the games, damn it.
And that's why, like, if you look at it from Sony's standpoint, like as like a financial sales standpoint, like what is it? They're selling the PlayStation compared to Xbox like 2-to-1 or something.
Yeah, probably at least.
You were selling way more consoles than the Xboxes. So like, why would you open up the floodgates of your exclusives to Xbox to where now you could be driving down your sales from systems? I mean, I guess maybe the games could be bought more. I don't know. I don't know how that would look on paper, you know, like the numbers.
The whole thing, I remember a while ago, or at least that came out during the whole Activision lawsuit thing, was that the games aren't selling as well as you would think versus the console. And this is okay. I have an Android. Chances of me going to Apple are slim to none. Not due to, I don't know, call it brand loyalty, call it whatever, but it just, I've been with Android for so long. But the way you're giggling, I'm assuming you have Apple.
Yep.
And you'll never switch to Android, right?
I know this conversation really well because I used to work at like Best Buy and Verizon.
But this is so knowing that we live in that space. It's easy to see with the gaming, and the thing that sucks about gaming is it's not an app that's holding you back. It's literally the whole entertainment itself as the game that's holding you. Like, that's so crazy, right? Like it's not like there's this one magical app that iPhone has that's I just can't get. No, it's a whole experience. It's a whole 12 to 24-hour experience that I cannot access unless I go buy that phone or that console. That's
a great way to phrase it. Yeah.
But this is, and I don't think Sony's gonna go both ways. I don't think they'll fully, after that hit. I think they saw a hit when it came to MLB The Show, especially when it went to Game Pass. It'd have been different if it was just available to play on Xbox, but to be in Game Pass, and that's a big tick. That was a big ticket game for PlayStation. I know plenty of baseball people who, because let's be honest, it's the only real baseball experience you're going to get in a game. Yeah. You're going to buy a PlayStation to play that. But where PlayStation really, like, look at what happened with Hogwarts Legacy. You know how many people went out and bought PlayStations because they thought that was the only way you were going to get to play Hogwarts, because people thought it was an exclusive.
Yeah, that's the thing too, is people get this weird idea that games are exclusive when they're not.
They're not. Marketing. And nowadays, when it comes to gaming, when you think gaming, you think PlayStation. Like, the average person thinks PlayStation. It used to be Nintendo. Now the word is PlayStation. When I go into GameStop, when I see somebody buying a console, every time I see somebody buy a console, this is just me personally, it's always a PlayStation. And they're always holding that rinky-dink box from the bottom. And the GameStop employee's always telling them, hey, hold it from the bottom because it can break. The box is dinky. I don't know if everybody. Well, we all have PlayStation
box with a rinky-dinky little hinge.
It's a dinky box, man. Come on. But every time I see somebody buying a console, they're walking out with that. So everything around gaming for the general consumer, in my opinion, has always been it's PlayStation. So why would PlayStation be the one to?
They've got the monopoly on it. That's kind of the issue, is that PlayStation have got the monopoly. So they have no real incentive to say, well, we're going to share our games. We're going to make our consoles more portable. They don't need to do any of that.
Xbox is getting bigger as a publisher now, though, because Xbox has got dozens of games being published on PlayStation and on Switch. So they've got big games like Minecraft. They've got, Call of Duty now. Like they've got all the Activision Blizzard games under their belts now. So they're publishing all these games. So when you're playing those games on PlayStation, you're buying and playing an Xbox game. You might not know it or think about it.
That's not going to be. Do we think that's not going to be the focus then of Xbox? They'll go the way of Sega and say we're not going to make consoles anymore. We're just going to make games.
That's what I've been waiting to get to. Look, can we? Okay, I'm going off track, and tell me to stop, please, if I'm going too far. Look at who we're dealing with. People, we love Xbox, but we forget Xbox's parent company is Microsoft. This company has its software embedded in almost every computer on Earth.
Yeah.
Once again, Earth, not US, not UK, not Earth. You go just about anywhere on the planet and you boot up, you're going to see Microsoft OS. This company is the parent company of this gaming console who's talking exclusivity. Posh posh. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean you only want to have your software in one place? What? And we have the capability of putting it everywhere? What? And we're not? What? And let me tell you, tinfoil hat time. This is why I honestly thought things were crumbling. Only because of who we're dealing with. We're dealing with the company that fell off from the HoloLens. We're dealing with the company that killed off the Windows Phone. We're dealing with the company that got that fell off with the Kinect and being able to hold home interactive system and Cortana and all of this. When now that is our world. So instead, like, they are always too early and they come in too hot and too early, and it causes this ruckus. And then everybody's like, no, this is stupid. And then all of a sudden,
5 years later,
it's the norm. Everybody loves this. What do you mean you don't talk to your console? What do you mean you don't order your milk from your little device that's connected? What? You call? You don't use the app?
Wait, you don't have a remote control that you talk to and tell your TV to do things?
What? What? How silly of you. What caveman is what? But no, that's why tinfoil hat, I honestly thought it was going to that route, the Sega route. I was like, because final point, and I'm gonna be quiet about it. If it's purely about making money, it makes the most sense. You lose money on consoles, you only market your controllers. I'd slowly think you only market your controllers. When's the last time you've seen a commercial for the console and not Game Pass or a controller?
I don't watch TV, so
good point.
No, but this is like, I'm talking. Let's put our general consumer hats on. You're not selling me your console. PlayStation is, and that's the difference. And that's why I don't think PlayStation at the end of every commercial it says PlayStation, and then you see the picture of the console. And then you see the console and the controller, just like this. It's all pretty and neat. And they put it in your face. Get the console. Get the console. Xbox don't care.
But that's just it. Like, that's the difference between the two companies. The PlayStation's console is their baby. That's their moneymaker. Whereas Xbox, their moneymaker isn't the console. It never has been. It's never been. From the beginning, the Xbox has always lost money. Always. But that's where we can get into this. Like, so the bullet points, exactly what you're saying. No, you're perfectly on track with this, Baron. So to back us up a smidge, they were talking about the other two games. They did say they were going to be smaller games that were never meant to be exclusives. And they feel like the best thing for those games is to get them out on other platforms so that those development studios get the most exposure possible. I love this because it's pro-developer. It's pro-consumer.
Yes.
And I think that's great that they have this mentality and perspective at this.
And one of those is Hi-Fi Rush. Well, rumored
as far as we know, it might be
stoked.
And everybody should play Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes, it was before Resident Evil 4 was my game of the year.
See, like, this is the thing. Like, just talking about the exclusive thing is, I was so excited to play Hi-Fi Rush because when we were doing the Smashies and all the Game of the Year stuff, I was like, damn, Hi-Fi Rush looks amazing. Why have I never seen this game? And I'm like, I'm on the store. I'm like, where the hell is it? I can't find it. And then I learned it's an exclusive. I was like, oh.
So speaking of exclusives, though, that was another point they talked about. They said the Xbox is still going to have exclusives. X games will still always be the best first on Xbox, and they're still developing games for Xbox to make Xbox more of a platform too. This is where I get most excited hearing them talk, because they start talking about cross-play, cross-save. Play with your friends wherever they're playing and play on whatever device you want to play. They're making it as easy as possible to play with everyone, no matter what, because that's my biggest frustration as a gamer, is not being able to play with my friends where they want to play. It's like, what console are you buying the game for? Well, I'm going to get it for this console. Does it have crossplay? Nope. Crap. Then I guess we're not playing.
Yep.
And that's always been a big issue for me. Even now, to this day, I still have issues with the cross save and cross progression on PlayStation. Xbox has nailed that shit. They're still working on it. It's still not perfect, but it works so freaking well. I'm going to run through some of this stuff real quick, and then we can break some more down. They announced Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass finally, after all the rumors after the Activision Blizzard acquisition that the Blizzard games were going to come to Game Pass. So Diablo 4 is going to be the first. It's coming to Game Pass on March 28th. They did say that more Activision Blizzard games are going to come to Game Pass. So they're going to blast Game Pass with Activision Blizzard value. They talk about the play anywhere, how when you buy a game once on Xbox, you get it on everything. You get it on Xbox, you get it on PC, you get it wherever you're going to play, cloud, everywhere. There's no buying it on different versions, different platforms, like PS4 versus PS5, which is another annoyance. I wanted to quote here, Phil Spencer had a quote where he says, he's talking about the play anywhere technology where, players get the multiple entitlements for a game. He says, a technology I'd love to see applied to more platforms. He's specifically calling out the other platforms for not doing that.
I think the leak, whoever did it, was to kind of force all hands on deck to slow this process down of becoming full on Sega. I really believe it, because I hate talking like I know what's going on, right? I really do, because I don't know what's going on, but I am a consumer and I love to spend money. I will tell you this: when I stopped seeing Phil Spencer and I started seeing Satya Nadella talking on behalf of Xbox on every not on every mainstream space, like not Twitter, not some podcast, no, like CNN, Fox, like you're not seeing Phil. Why am I not seeing the president of Xbox? Why am I seeing Microsoft? I really was ready that Phil was about to get the order, like, hey, all that cute, fun console exclusive stuff, go throw it away. We got money to make. We make money. Go out here and make this money. Go and sell these games everywhere. And it just, because if it's about profit, and that's when I started seeing Satya coming around a lot, that's what my thought was. Oh, it's a money move, which makes sense. Put the games everywhere. Like, if it's pure, let's take out gaming, let's take out love for consoles and nostalgia and arcades, and you don't even get to put coins in the machine anymore at arcades. Pinballs have a little card thing where you slap next to it. It's so ugly. But this is the world we live in, right? So it's easy for me to fathom Microsoft, not Xbox, Microsoft saying, we're stepping in, put it in everywhere. If it can connect to a controller, we want the game there, charge regular price. And if they want, we can put Game Pass there. Because let's be honest, they would put Game Pass on PlayStation if they could.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they've been marketing Game Pass as the Netflix of games since its initial release back in 2017. And that's exactly what it's become. And it's excelling.
Yes, absolutely. It's the best game service that's available as a subscription. 100%. Far outweighs PlayStation Plus. So,
oh yeah. But yeah, that was my whole thing, and I just, it didn't sound so far fetched. Like the idea of Xbox making that shift and be like, hey, we're just gonna put it everywhere, guys. Sorry.
The bigger notions from this was, moving forward, Xbox is always going to ensure that your library goes with you, which is huge when it comes to digital games and preservation, because that's the biggest fear when it comes to buying digital games, is you'll lose that digital game purchase. And that is something that I'm glad to hear that they're keeping in focus. They talked about how their growth rate has doubled on PC and mobile over the last 5 years. That they still will continue to have a hardware as a flagship experience. They didn't say Xbox specifically, but they did say hardware. Now, I'm not saying that you're wrong, Baron, but also you kind of right. This could be them transitioning into more like a Sega type thing. They might go hard on, we're just going to try to make it so that our games are wherever you're playing, regardless of what you're playing on. And again, that's a money move for sure. They did go on to say that they will have updates on hardware coming this holiday, as well as investments that they're making in the next generation. And they said that there's a focus on the largest technical leap you've ever seen in a hardware generation. What does that mean? Another Xbox or just PCs or just, we don't know.
I'm ready to spend money, baby.
If there's anything to lean on, they're saying that they're looking at the next generation and it's going to be the largest technical leap you've ever seen. To me, that sounds like they're going to start trying to sell like supercomputers as gaming consoles. Which, I mean, if you're not buying an Xbox, what are you buying? You're buying a gaming PC. You're going to spend $1,000, $2,000 or more on something like that. So maybe they're going to go like Nintendo, where Nintendo stopped selling the mobile platform and the console and just said, okay, now we're just going to take both of those and make it one thing. Maybe Xbox is going to bridge the gap of console gaming with PC gaming.
It feels like something that's, I mean, it's so vague, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
It's
we're
very
gonna
vague.
blow you. It's like, what is it? It feels like maybe it's something that's more conceptual than just like, we're going to give you something super powerful. So kind of like VR was like a huge technical leap forward, because like this is just a crazy concept of like you get to play games in virtual reality. So it feels like something like that. Like Xbox are going to come out and say like, hey, here's this next big thing, like the Kinect or VR or something like that. It feels like there's something like that kind of brewing. I thought that was very interesting they said that, because I was like, what can we add to our gaming experience now? Like, well, legitimately, what can
I
we
couldn't
add?
help but think about earlier when you were saying like, what else can it do? And then Xbox comes out with this, largest technical leap kind of thing. And to me, that's kind of like, is it how possible?
Ready Player One.
That? Yeah, right.
Right.
Yes.
Or the PlayStation 9, you inhale the little nano machines.
Sign me up. No.
SOA.
I'm so. You don't understand. You have no idea. My wife already knows. My family knows. They're like, when the trial periods come up, Baron's going to be a crash test dummy. And I'm gone. And that's okay. And they know. Like, it's already, we have discussions. The wife knows.
Decided.
She's like, it's either he's going to get in a pod to get shipped off to whatever space and frozen in time, or he's going to sign up to be Matrixed. Like, it's all the way.
You're going to be
they know.
the Kirito with the SAO headset where you're going to get like put into a coma and then you're going to live in the video game.
They know. My family knows. I have these
Baron
conversations.
Just goes like a cyborg. Half of his face is just metal.
Dang. like, Dad? Yes. No.
Dum.
Hello, son.
I love you.
I love you. Designation 4.89.
Let me close out a few more thoughts and then we can wrap this up. One of the other things that I wanted to hit on was another quote from Phil, where he talked about respecting the investments of its players in Xbox going forward. Another big thing that means a lot to me, especially because like Nintendo has burned me hard. I'm buying digital and then you lose that come next generation. So I'm glad to hear that like my massive digital library I've been building for the last 2 generations is going to keep moving forward. And then a quote by Sarah Bond. She says, player first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your game anywhere you want because of their investments in cloud gaming and taking the games forward with you. These are all things to me that like speak volumes as a gamer and the things that I care about going forward. Plus, we're going to get more updates from a June showcase. So it's a lot to break down. Are you concerned about Xbox games going to PlayStation? I'm not.
No.
I would love it, dude. There's so many games on Xbox that are exclusives that I would love to play on PlayStation. So, I mean, like, we were talking about this the other day. It'd be like, how wild would it be if, like, in a couple of years from now, you'd be able to play Halo on PlayStation or something?
Right.
Like, that would be wild.
And the coolest thing about it, like the cross-play and cross-save, if that was implemented, oh my god, how great!
I feel like I was going to say this earlier. I feel like it's time. It's been fun to joke about it. It's been fun to say, oh, you want to play on this console, you want to play on this. It's been fun to laugh about it for now. But seriously, crossplay needs to be a fucking industry standard.
It does.
Yeah,
it's not acceptable anymore that you get games that are released and it's like, oh, we've got them on all the platforms, but you can only play with your platforms because the technology's there. It's not like, oh, we can't do this. It's not possible. The technology's there. You can do it. Just do it. Yes,
and then it's at the detriment. It's at the detriment to the studios. It's not even it hurts nobody but those
exactly. Players are not buying games because they're crossplay, because they're not crossplay.
Yeah,
it hurts them.
Oh, quite literally.
And it baffles me.
It honestly, you would give a game legs if it has crossplay. Like you're almost guaranteeing that this game's going to live longer than initially anticipated, simply because there's 100 people across 4 platforms across Earth who are still keeping it going. Let
me ask you this: Gotham Knights didn't do tremendously well, right? That game did not have crossplay. Do you think it would have done even at least a little bit better if it had crossplay?
100%. 100%.
Because my friend and I, he has an Xbox, I have a PlayStation. We were super amped for Gotham Knights, and then we saw the reviews were not great, so we thought, cool, let's hold off and wait for it to come to the subscription services, because also it wasn't crossplay. If that was crossplay, we probably would have bought it day one.
I'm still remembering now that I was irked that Elden Ring didn't have crossplay when it came out. Like, are you fucking shitting me? One of the biggest games of the year doesn't have crossplay.
It's ludicrous, dude. It needs to be an industry standard. It's not acceptable anymore. It's ridiculous that studios are not.
What is it? I think it was Helldivers. When I boot up Helldivers, and it first does the setup process with you, and it says, "Do you want to turn on crossplay?" And I'm like, "Yes." And then it pops up with another message saying, "You're going to play with people on other platforms." And I'm like, "I know, I want that."
Right.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sign me up.
Lots of things. We didn't get into all of those like I wanted to, but oh my god, let me get your final thoughts on like what this presentation means to you.
I get to play Hi-Fi Rush soon.
Hopefully.
I think in the end, I think more people will find enjoyment in games, and at the end of the day, like that's all I'm worried about. I don't care about sales. I don't care about numbers, whatever. Just if me and my friends are having fun playing games, I don't care where you're playing it on. Like as long as everybody's happy, I'm happy. That's pretty much where I stand.
It sounded positive. It sounded like Xbox was saying that. They were saying, listen, we want you to play games. We want you to have fun. And it's kind of a nice thing to hear in an industry that's a bit toxic at the moment as well. They're kind of saying,
for sure,
like, we want people to enjoy these things instead of just ruthlessly. I mean, that's the thing about Sony, is that they ruthlessly just want to sell and sell and sell and sell. So for Xbox to come out and say, listen, we just want to make things fun again is pretty cool. I think it's a big W. I'll give a big dub to Xbox.
It's a great thing about them being the underdog is they can do these things. They can take chances on themselves. PlayStation, they've been on top for so long, they're settled in their ways. Why would they change from something that's been so successful? That's the way I see it.
Point, yeah.
And that's ultimately for me, that's why it was so nerve-wracking when all the stars aligned that Xbox could finally not be a joke console in the general community. Like it could, like if they announced Call of Duty's exclusive, they would immediately become the number one console without debate. Like there would be no, because Call of Duty is every year the number one selling game. Like it just like outside of last year with Hogwarts Legacy, crazy. So it was just so weird to see them finally in a position as a big time Xbox fan, somebody who's owned all consoles, like I've been gaming on PC for Lord knows how long, Diablo 2 days and RuneScape. And then, then I got the PlayStation. I have my Switch. I try to have everything. I even found a Game Gear somewhere. But just knowing that and knowing how the console warring stuff works, to see you finally get a huge leg up, every stars aligned, everything's going, and then you're like, no, guys, we're sharing. It's like, oh, what? What? It's just so weird. Like years of Xbox has no games, like going through it, being somebody a fan of Xbox, to now you're in a position to just take it home. And you're like, you know what, guys? Power of friendship.
Xbox is killing them with kindness.
They're taking the higher road. Like, that's something that PlayStation, they should have probably done.
Yeah.
It's not there somewhere.
No, true.
Do you think that it's... Do we think at all that it's that is Xbox admitting defeat in some kind of way?
I thought they've already admitted defeat in terms of like consoles and
he mentioned
sales for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said we lost the last generation, which was like the generation not to lose. And with your digital libraries, you're not going anywhere. Like wherever you're rooted, you're not going anywhere else.
But I think it's like you said, Dan, it's like killing him with kindness. It's kind of, I think it's Xbox saying like, listen, we're not winning the console war, but you know what? There's no reason we need to be rivals or competitors. We are in the entertainment industry essentially, and let's try and entertain people. And it's a huge, like I said, it's a huge dub.
The big thing here is they might be losing consoles, as the console wars, as it were, as far as sales, the physical sales of the consoles. But what they're winning, and they're going to continue winning, is services. And services are what makes money, and that's where they're going to continue to make money. Yep. So they're going to start, like, you might not even see it. You might not realize it. They're not going to be in the rhetoric of the zeitgeist of all of those terms of the mental space that they might hold in your brain. But already, like, let's talk about the Microsoft thing. You don't even think about the fact that every piece of technology you own has Microsoft somewhere in there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say that earlier. Like all of the PlayStation exclusives, all of the people that make PlayStation consoles, what operating system do you think they use on their computers when developing?
They make those games with Microsoft.
I remember the funniest thing. I was watching that documentary for The Last of Us, the first one. It's called Grounded.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, it's this big, like, Sony exclusive game, and one guy had like his weight screen on and was a big Windows logo. I just thought that's so funny.
Like, and that's the reality of it.
That's what it is.
That's what makes the toxicity of the console wars laughable, because it's like
ridiculous, dude.
It's ridiculous.
Dude, doesn't Sony use Azure?
Yeah, I think so. They licensed Azure, I think, through Microsoft.
Good luck playing. Like, come on. Like, your multiplayer is built in Microsoft.
Like Microsoft and PlayStation, Sony have deals with like Blu-ray. Microsoft has deals with Azure for, like, they share technologies with each other.
Both consoles are amazing and we love them.
Yep. I will always be an omnivore, gaming omnivore. That's how I like to look at it. I have everything. I play everything. I just want the best experience for everyone. I want everyone to enjoy their games. That's what we're all about here, is everyone
dude.
Enjoy your games, play your games, have fun with them, play with your friends with cross-play, God damn it.
Please, dude.
But yeah, with that, we do need to close out the show. Thank you, Baron, for joining us this evening. It's lovely having you.
Guys,
I'm going to get a tinfoil hat for the next time you're on the show.
Hey, I'm telling you, tinfoil hat time. No.
Brandy's got one.
No, thank you guys so much for having me, man. It's always fun chatting with y'all. Yeah. And, Fallout 3 is the best Fallout.
Dude, like low-key, throw that in there. Fallout 3 is the best Fallout. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
He's hacking and whacking and whacking.
He's hacking and whacking.
Be sure to go over to CouchSoup.com, sign up for a free membership if you haven't already. There you can join us on the Circle Space, where we can engage with you, our listeners, and chat with us, talk about suggestions for the show, tell us what you thought of our conversations. Tell us how much you love Baron. And I'll send screenshots to Baron and tell him how much everybody loves him. But yeah, thank you all for being here with us this evening. This has been a great episode. We'll catch you all next week. Thank you, and game over, folks.
Love one another. Now kiss.
Love one another. Yay!
Look, I even got the little keyboard on.
I missed the chat pad, man. Oh, the chat pad.
Chat pad.
I love the chat pad.